M84.5, pathological fracture and neoplastic disease. Malignant ascites, that's where you get a buildup of fluid in the abdomen. And so they'll either treat it with diuretics, or oftentimes they have to go in and do therapeutic paracentesis and draw that fluid off of there. Okay, so that codes out to R18.0. It is usually a secondary code. I don't think they usually put that first because it is related specifically to the malignancy. So usually you'll have your malignancy code and then the R18.0. And then if they did the drainage, you'd have that code as well for drainage of the peritoneal cavity. Same thing with the malignant pleural effusion. Again, that's a buildup of fluids in the pleural cavity. So that's going to code out to J91.0 with the malignancy first. Then the encounter for prophylactic organ removal. These are the people that, like Angelina Jolie, who figured out she had the BRCA gene and wanted to have her breast removed so she didn't get it. Or somebody that has a really strong family history. They want to go in and have those good organs that are not diseased yet removed. Okay? So if that's the case, then that's going to code out your principal diagnosis is going to be Z40, encounter for prophylactic surgery. You'll have additional numbers on there to show the organ, but it's a Z40 category. Then you code additional codes for either family history or genetic susceptibility to show why they want that prophylactic organ removal. And remember, it could be that she already has cancer somewhere. Could be she has cancer in the right breast and now she wants the left breast taken off. So you might also have a code for a neoplasm if that's applicable and it's present. It does remind you not to code Z40 if the organ removal is a part of the treatment. Look at that very last line. You know, with prostate cancer, they go in and remove the testes because that deals with the hormones. So it'll help, you know, keep it from growing. So it's not that we're removing those testes because we're afraid it'll spread there. It's a part of the treatment. And we're removing it so the hormones, so we don't have hormones coming out. So we would not use a Z40 there, even though those testes are normal without cancer, because that's a part of the treatment. Okay, and then that last section is about you've had the cancer, it's gone, and we're bringing you back in to see if there's a recurrence. Remember talking about that? We would have talked about it in the Z codes because it is a Z code. So this would be follow-up for recurrence. Remember, that's going to code out to Z08, but only if they don't find anything, right? So remember all the examples, almost all of them I think were colon cancer. The guy had a colon cancer removed, and he comes back in and we did not find anything. So we're going to code the Z08. Then you would also code personal history of colon cancer. If he had had part of the colon removed, you would also code acquired absence. And then the diagnostic procedure, which was probably a colonoscopy. But if we find something, if we find out the colon cancer is back, then you're going to code the primary site as your malignant, the primary site of the malignancy as your principal diagnosis. So you'll be coding colon cancer again, and you won't use a Z08. Or maybe we don't find it at the primary site, but we see where it spread. Okay? So now we're going to have to code the secondary site, and then we'll code the history of the primary site, but no Z08. Or we could have found something related, like colon polyps. Remember that example? So we didn't find cancer again, but we found polyps. So in that case, we would code the colon polyps, but no Z08. So the only time you use that Z08 is when we don't find anything.
So will it stay in this situation where there's no recurrence at the primary, but evidence of it's metastasized to a secondary site?
Yeah, it'll tell you where.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that what you mean? Yeah.
Or the cause and effect?
Yeah.
Relationship?
Yeah, it should.
Okay. We don't have to guess, oh, well, this must be from the breast cancer
Yeah, no.
they had years ago.
It should identify it for you as a metastatic site. Okay, so now we know how to code them and how to sequence them. Let's figure out how we code the treatments. So the first thing they're talking about is surgery, and the 4 root operations that you might see would be excision, resection, destruction, or extirpation. Remember, excision would be a portion of the organ. So like, we probably will not take out your entire brain or you die. You wouldn't be able to breathe anymore. But we could take out a portion of it. So excision of a brain for a brain tumor, okay? Or resection if we take out the whole organ, we remove the whole prostate. Destruction is going to be all that ablation, laser, heat, all that stuff will go out to destruction, unless it's a part of the radiation stuff. But anyway, so look for that word ablation. And then extirpation, we know, is removing a foreign body, which could be a tumor, I guess, if they were able to remove just that portion of it. Okay, so the first thing it talks about are lymph nodes, and it wants to be sure you know that sometimes they take a sampling of lymph nodes because they want to biopsy them and see if the cancer is spread. That is considered an excision because they just took a few isolated lymph nodes. Versus if they take out the entire lymph node chain, you might see that like a radical lymphadenectomy. Okay, that's going to code out to resection. So a sampling of just a few isolated is excision. Removing the entire lymph node chain is a resection. Goes on to tell you that just because they do a radical resection of an organ does not imply that they remove the adjacent nodes. Okay, then at the bottom, the thermal ablation, destruction. This particular one, thermal, they're talking about heat. They can use it on malignancies of the lung, liver, and kidney. And basically all you're going to maybe have to figure out is the approach, right? Is it open, laparoscopic, thoracoscopic, or percutaneous? Because they can do it all 4 of those methods. We really kind of already talked about chemo and immunotherapy. Both of those are going to code out to administration. Remember, administration starts with a 3. Okay? And then the root operation is always going to be introduction. The body system in this case, the 4th character is going to be where the drug is administered. So again, peripheral vein, central vein, peritoneal cavity, all those places. The approach is the 5th character. The 6th character is what we gave them. So did we give them anti-neoplastics? Did we give them some of the immunotherapy drugs, which are like the IL, interleukin 2, high dose or low dose, the interferon. Okay.